28 seconds. That's how long Romain Grosjean was trapped inside a fireball at 800 degrees Celsius. 28 seconds where he accepted death. 28 seconds that defied every statistical probability of survival. This is the complete story of one of the most violent crashes in modern Formula 1 history, and the perfect storm of safety technology that saved one man's life. November 29th, 2020, the Bahrain Grand Prix. Romain Grosjean has 9.5 seasons in Formula 1 behind him. After this race, just 2 remain. He's 34 years old, a father of 3, and about to experience something that should have killed him instantly. Lap 1, turn 3. Grosjean qualified 19th and is battling Daniel Kvyat's AlphaTauri for 17th position. The field ahead is bunching up. Grosjean is hunting for gaps, looking for opportunities. But then, he makes a decision that will change everything. He cuts from the left side of the track to the right too sharply. His right rear tyre makes contact with Kvyat's front left wheel. The physics are instant. Grosjean's Haas VF20 snaps right towards a barrier that's rarely tested on this part of the circuit. 119 miles per hour, 22-degree yaw angle. And here's where the nightmare begins. The barrier is designed to absorb the impact through controlled deformation. The rails are supposed to bend, flex, catch the car, but Grosjean hits at a such precise angle with such specific force that the middle rail doesn't bend. It breaks. The car doesn't stop. It pierced completely through the Armcore barrier and comes to a rest on the other side with the barrier rail impaled through the chassis. 67 G. To put that into perspective, astronauts experienced 3 to 4 G during launch. Fighter pilots black out around 9 G. When Max Verstappen had his massive crash at Silverstone 8 months later, one of the hardest impacts we've seen in years, that was 51 G. Grosjean's was 67. Grosjean's body weighs 4.5 tons at 67 G. His head, normally 5 kilograms, now weighs 335 kilograms. Every organ is compressed. Blood is forced away from the brain. The human body simply isn't designed to survive this. But incredibly, Grosjean is conscious. More than that, he's completely aware. The HANS device kept his neck intact. The survival cell hasn't cracked. Against all the odds, he survived the impact. And then he sees the fire. Here's what happened in the fraction of a second after the impact. The fuel tank sits behind the driver, built into the survival cell with multiple safety systems designed to prevent the leaks. When the barrier rail punched through the car, it ripped these systems apart, creating paths for fuel to escape. The FIA investigation found that the fuel tank inspection hatch was ripped off. The engine fuel supply connection was torn completely away from the safety bladder. Both of these created clear paths for fuel to escape. 100 kilograms of fuel now has a way out. But liquid fuel doesn't burn easily. It's the vapor that's deadly. As the fuel escapes, it vaporizes instantly in the heat and exposed air. This vapor is incredibly flammable. All it needs is an ignition source, and there are dozens of ignition sources. The impact has exposed the car's electrical systems, batteries, wiring, sensors, all now torn open and generating sparks. The moment the fuel vapor meets these sparks, the fireball is instantaneous. The fire doesn't just surround the car, it penetrates into the survival cell. Grosjean is sitting in the center of an 800-degree inferno, and for the first few seconds, he can't find a way out. This is what Grosjean later described. My body starts to relax, I'm in peace with myself, and I'm going to die. I thought, which part is going to burn first? Is it the foot? Is it the hands? Is it going to be painful? Sometimes we're close to death. We're a bit scared. This time, death was here for me. He'd accepted, and then thought about his wife, his children, and something changed. 10 seconds into the fire, Grosjean makes his first attempt to escape. But there's a problem. He's wedged at an angle. The barrier rail is piercing through the side of the car. The normal exit path is blocked out. He tries to lift himself out of the way, but his body won't fit through the gap. 15 seconds. His gloves are starting to melt. He makes a split-second decision, one he can't explain even now. He turns his helmet to the left, twists his shoulder at an unnatural angle. It starts to work. His shoulders are coming through, but his foot is stuck. I pulled through as hard as I could on my left leg. The shoe stayed where it was, but my foot came out of my shoe. 23 seconds. He's over the halo. Both hands are on the fire now. He can see his gloves changing color. Red to black, melting on his skin. 25 seconds. He clears his survival cell. The barrier is in front of him. He jumps. 28 seconds. Dr. Ian Roberts, the FIA medical delegate, grabs his race suit and pulls him to safety. Grosjean is out. He's alive and somehow he's walking. He deliberately walks to the ambulance instead of using a stretcher. He wants the cameras to see him. He wants his wife and his children to know he's okay. But the question remains, how did any of this happen? How did he survive 67G? How did he escape an 800-degree fire? The answer isn't purely luck, it's partly engineering. Five technologies saved Romain Grosjean's life that day. Technologies that were developed over decades, often in response to tragedies. This is how one worked. The human body can't survive 67G. So what happened? Two systems had to work perfectly simultaneously. The survival cell, the monocoque, is a carbon fiber built around the driver. 6 millimeters of Kevlar carbon fiber, layered upon layer, each oriented in different directions to maximize the strength. The FIA requires it to withstand specific loads, front impacts, side impacts, roll tests. But it had never been tested like this. 67G, a barrier rail piercing completely through the car, fire at 800 degrees. And it didn't break. After Grosjean escaped, the fire burned even hotter, reaching over 1000 degrees Celsius. The rest of the car was destroyed. The rear half was completely severed, but the survival cell remained intact. But keeping the survival cell intact isn't enough if your neck snaps. That's where the HANS device came in. The HANS device, head and neck support, was introduced to F1 in 2003. It's a collar that sits on the driver's shoulders, with tethers connecting to the helmet. Its job is to prevent the head from snapping forward during the impact. Without HANS device, Grosjean's head would have been snapped forward with over 300 kilograms of force. His neck would have broken instantly. Death would have come before the fire. His head would have hit the barrier at 990 miles per hour, but it never touched the barrier. The halo absorbed the entire impact. The halo was introduced in 2018 after years of debate. Many thought it was ugly. Some drivers complained it restricted their vision, but its development came from tragedy. Henry Surtees killed by a loose tire in 2009, Felipe Massa nearly killed by a flying spring the same year, Jules Bianchi, who died from head injuries at Suzuka 14. Each of these incidents pushed the FIA towards head protection. By the time Grosjean crashed, the halo had already proven itself, most notably saving Charles Leclerc at the 2018 Belgian Grand Prix. But Bahrain 2020 showed its true strength. The halo protected Grosjean from the barrier. It deformed, it bent, but it didn't break. And it also created an obstacle he had to climb over while on fire, making his escape harder, but without it, there would have been no escape to make. His fire suit was rated 12 seconds of direct fire exposure. He was in there for 28. Modern F1 suits are made from Nomex, designed to give the drivers enough time to escape, but Grosjean pushed beyond the limit. By the 20-second mark, his gloves were melting, changing from red to black, fusing to his skin. The helmet added another layer. Combined with the halo, Grosjean's head was completely protected, even as his hands were burning. The suit kept him alive just long enough, just barely. Another 10 seconds might have been a complete different story. But all of this technology, the halo, the survival cell, the HANS device, the fireproof equipment, all of it would have been useless without the people who responded in seconds. As its standard procedure, the FIA medical car starts every race at the back of the grid. Dr. Ian Roberts and medical driver Alan van der Merwe deliberately positioned themselves to respond to first lap incidents. When Grosjean crashed, they were already moving. They had taken a shortcut through turns 1 and 2, anticipating the potential incidents further around the lap. Medical car arrived in 11 seconds. The trackside marshals didn't hesitate. The moment they saw the fireball, they ran towards it. One activated the fire extinguisher. Another grabbed and handled the unit and sprinted across the track towards an active fire, towards an explosion risk, towards danger. Their fire suppression gave Grosjean those crucial extra seconds to position himself for escape. But it was Dr. Roberts who completed the rescue. The moment Grosjean cleared the survival cell, Roberts grabbed his race suit and hauled him over the barrier, pulling him away from the inferno. Grosjean was transferred to Bahrain Defense Force Hospital. Second-degree burns to both hands, damaged ribs, but alive. 3 days later, he was discharged. The crash proved that F1 safety systems work, even in scenarios they were never designed for. But it also revealed gaps. The FIA conducted a full investigation and implemented 5 major changes. Grosjean's gloves began melting around 20 seconds. New regulations require gloves to withstand direct fire for longer periods. The inspection hatch that was ripped off is now secured with additional redundancy. Grosjean's headrest came loose during the crash. While it didn't affect his escape, it revealed a design flaw. New regulations have eliminated this issue across the grid. Grosjean's foot was briefly trapped, costing him precious seconds. Pedal box designs were reviewed and modified to prevent this. A tire barrier was installed at the front of the armco at the crash site, providing an extra layer of impact absorption. These changes were implemented immediately, some even before the next race at the same circuit 1 week later. Grosjean missed the final 2 races of his F1 career due to injuries. But perhaps no driver has had more memorable final act. He recovered quickly and began his planned IndyCar career in 2021, earning a nickname he gave himself, the Phoenix. 9.5 seasons in Formula 1, 10 podiums, countless battles, but nothing will come close to those 28 seconds in Bahrain.